Greetings, everyone. This is Grandmaster Amin Ra coming to you from Mombasa, Kenya again. This show is going to be not too long, but it's going to be about, of course, business in modern Africa today. We're going to go over some interesting points and facts about Mpesa or money banking. So I want to kind of describe it to you because a lot of us don't really know about this great phenomenon that is sweeping in Africa, and it's not in the United States yet, but in Africa, it is really booming, especially in Kenya and in East Africa. So what it is called Mpesa. Mpesa simply means like money. Pesa means money in Swahili. So Mpesa really means like money, mobile money in Swahili. So I want to go over the story of Mpesa a bit. I got some simple notes here, and then if you're coming into the chat, you can ask me questions on it, and it can better help you. Now, why are we talking about Mpesa? Because a lot of times when we discuss about Africa, we wonder how can we live there? How can we survive in Africa? And we kind of have the opinion that the African that is out there is somehow rural and there's no businesses going on. Well, this is not true. Business is really not only thriving, it's booming here, and transactions are being made. Kenya has its own stock market, like most of modern African middle income countries do, and the transactions, are big and some are small, but for the most part, what you have in the United States, you basically have in modern Africa. So that being the case, Mpesa became a game changer. Mpesa became a game changer. Mpesa was created in 2007, and believe it or not, the idea had been knocked around because so many people were using their phones as a way to transfer airtime, and they would say, like, somebody would need 100 shillings in up country, and the guy would say, okay, I can send you some airtime, because Safaricom, which is the IPS provider for Mpesa, would let you send this airtime to somebody else's phone. So somebody needed 50 shillings or 100 shillings or even 500 shillings. The person would buy 500 shillings worth of phone credit, send it to the individual, and then that individual would try to sell that airtime to get the money. And they knocked that idea around in the early stages. And then, believe it or not, there was a university student, a Kenyan university student, Nairobi University, created the software for being able to do transactions online. Now, okay, some people may have heard this story, but I want to put this into context. What is Mpesa? Mpesa is simply Bitcoin without the coin. So, you do the transactions on your phone and you have digital money. And the way it became successful in Kenya is that Safaricom got the idea of creating agents, this position for agents. And an agent would be simply somebody who had access to do these transactions, from digital money on the phone to actual money, Kenyan shillings. So an agent would be in a booth and he'd have like a lot of money there. And, you come in and say, okay, I want to get 500 shillings. So you have it in your digital money account. You put in the agent's code number, and then that digital money would go into his account. He would see it, and then he would give you cash. And, they came up with a system that made so many people want to be agents. And agents were everywhere. So the access to the money was easy. There's a Mpesa agent about, I say like 100 steps from my house. And then there's like 3 of them. So they all compete in that one little area. And this is all over Kenya. So the key here that we as Black Americans must understand about Mpesa is that it doesn't use a bank at all. You just have your phone number, and Safaricom allows you to have an account, and you put money in this little, what you would be just an ISP account, and that would be your digital money. It would be digital money, and then you can go to any agent, and I mean there are agents everywhere. Like if you want to go to the liquor store, then that's like an agent. And wherever every liquor store would be an agent for Safaricom, and then you go in and you just say, here's my digital money on my phone, transfer it into cash, and they'd be happy to do so because they get a small fee for the transactions. Now, if you can imagine this. Okay, hi. Hey, brother. Okay, Bobby, how are you, man? Everything is so. Thank you. And if you have a question, you just let me know. So, so you have this ability to just carry around your phone. So it has reduced crime in Kenya. It is, hey, Cheryl, how are you? Thanks for coming in. And if you have any questions, let me know. So I'm talking about Safaricom here. And I'm saying that it has been a game changer in Kenya. And we as Black Americans really need to understand about this because we don't have it in the US yet. Google tried to do it with Google Wallet, but it didn't really take off. Banks in the U.S. and in these superpower countries are too powerful to allow people to do transactions with money away from them. But somehow in Kenya, it has happened, and the success has been great. Now, I wanted to discuss about, I think I did say about what M-Pesa was like a Bitcoin, but without the coin. And then you can transfer the digital money at any agent. And then you can get the actual cash. So today, this M-Pesa is all through basically Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. They're using it, and then M-Pesa is based out of Kenya, but they have other, like MTN has also some sort of similar program where you can do money banking. And then of course in Kenya, M-Pesa is the largest, but there are 3 other ISPs that also have money banking system, but by far in Kenya, M-Pesa is the largest. But if you go to Nigeria, they'll have it. If you go to Ghana, I'm sure they would have some sort of way you can do money through banking through phone, and you would do it without having a bank account. Your ISP would be holding an account for you. Now, Safaricom, M-Pesa was created basically by a university student. Name starts with a B. I think you guys in the chat can look it up. I'm well. And he was paid $10,000 for the M-Pesa software. And today, so many billions of shillings is being transferred every day using M-Pesa. So we as Blacks, we have to understand that 70% of Kenyans live in the rural areas, live in the upcountry areas, live on the farms. Only 30% of Kenyans are in the city right now. But this thing is really changing. Like I said, the population of Kenya has doubled in the last 25 years, and they suspect it's going to be 63 million in 2020. So with this large number of growth of people, a lot of transactions definitely have to be made. So a lot of people don't have access to banks. And overnight, M-Pesa changed all that. So if you have a phone, you can get money and you can transfer money using M-Pesa. So you can imagine that so many early generation of Kenyans parents who never even learned how to read and write, you know, have a phone, and their children who are now grown and moved to the city can transfer money to them at an instant. So it's the saying, black folks can trade against themselves right now using a crypto coin currency. Okay, that's what I was saying. M-Pesa is like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency based off of, except you don't have a coin. And whereas it is not as popular in the U.S., 90% of Kenyans have this M-Pesa account or this money by phone. So, you know, it is a standard in the country. It is like, like we use Google, it's like that's how M-Pesa is when it comes to doing business. So when we talk about coming to Africa, there's no way you're really going to get around the fact that the transactions are being done by phone. So that's why I wanted to explain it, and then let you guys, get some understanding of that. If you came here and you did a small business, you could, how that M-Pesa would work. And then if you start a business and you want to go back to the U.S., how M-Pesa would fit into that. You can actually develop a business and run it with locals and pay them through M-Pesa as opposed to like you have a bank account. And then, of course, the digital program M-Pesa works based off text messaging. So you get a text from M-Pesa that says, this is your account, this is a transaction you made at this time, and then you can have a record of that right there on your phone. And from that text message, you can you can keep all your accounting records. And I'm gonna talk about how M-Pesa has improved their services today and what the future of M-Pesa will look like. Okay, so you're saying I have a Coinbase account. Okay, but yeah, and how many black people have these accounts? Can you deal with the 40 million of us with this type of 40 million of us using one particular service? No. But in Kenya, as I'm trying to explain to you, this is a standard. And so therefore, when you come here, you have to be willing to go with the standard, of course, and it's going to be, it's going to be M-Pesa. Okay, so I want to share with you a small story that only 10 years ago, I went to an ATM machine that was for M-Pesa, and when I went inside, the machine was broken, and somebody had kicked the machine or did something to the machine, and the screen had tilted, so you could actually look through the glass, see the screen, and then realize it was connected to a computer, and the computer was running Windows XP. And when I saw that, being a computer person, when I saw that, I came to realize that, this M-Pesa is not nothing complicated. You know what I mean? This guy had created a program using Windows. And when they rolled it out at that time, wasn't as big as it is today, of course. The program was running based off Windows software inside a booth. And that was what they were using it to do transactions, I assume. But the program was very simple to make. I could have created M-Pesa. I just didn't think like that at the time. But it's very important to know that many people in Kenya access this M-Pesa account daily using their phone. So I have mine here. This is my phone. And I think I've done like 7 transactions with M-Pesa. My son was here asking me money for a haircut. I didn't have cash, so I just M-Pesa'd his phone, and he went to the barber. And then, of course, the barber accepts M-Pesa, so he just, he can transfer that money into the barber's account. So, again, 70% of Kenyans live in the rural area, and only 30%. But this is changing, and like I said, it's going to change greatly as time moves on. So, like I said, the population is increasing at a rapid pace in Kenya. And M-Pesa is just the means to connect all these people, because 70% of people live in the rural areas, yet 90% of Kenyans have mobile phones. Probably 99%, but I'm just being safe. Because somebody came to me talking about they don't have a phone. I'm like, why? You see? So as I said in the last video, most of the people, Africa is the largest market for mobile phones in the world today. So okay, let me see a message here. You should check out for range of crypto. Okay, I don't need to do crypto because I have M-Pesa, and M-Pesa is the standard. So I don't know if I'm reading you right. Widely, and they will have a success. Well, they will have success one day, yes, but right now M-Pesa is successful, and it's going on to be even more successful. And if you come to Kenya, you can tell people about what you're talking about, but they have M-Pesa. So, it'd be an uphill battle. And why would you want to do that? We want to survive in Africa. We don't want to try to change Africa. So, M-Pesa is a proven success. Now, okay, you should also look at, okay, I don't know why you're telling me what I should look at. And I'm explaining to you about M-Pesa. Now, if you got insight on something else, okay, that's fine for you. But there are people that want to know about how they can do business in Africa when they come here. Like if you're a retired person and you're getting a check, and then you want to open up a small business in Africa, and you want to be able to have control over it. Of course, that deals with the money. So you would have somebody like you would have like a foreman, and that you would do business with the foreman. The foreman would be in charge of sending you the money back to the U.S. or if you had to send money to keep your business going, you can do that through the foreman, and he would go out and make payments. You can do your payrolling through M-Pesa as well. Nowadays you get a mini statement every month telling you all the transactions that you did. Automatically comes in an email. And also they have what they call Lipa Ya Kenya. Lipa Ya M-Pesa. And Lipa Ya Pesa just means pay by M-Pesa. And now when you go to any business, any proper business or a restaurant, you'll see on the wall that they say we're an agent of Lipa Ya M-Pesa, and they have a code number. So you can sit down to a nice dinner, and then the waiter brings you the check. You pull out your phone, you put in the code number that they have there for the agent, put in the amount of the bill, and then press in, and it pulls the money from your digital phone to their digital account without having to pay cash. You can just walk out the restaurant. Immediately, it'll send back a text message saying that your transfer was successful. The establishment will also get a message at the same time saying that they received the money from you. Your new balance will show in the text message, and voila. Now, this is the standard in Kenya. Let me repeat that. So you won't come here and see like there's a crypto, there's something else, or something else is better. No, if everybody is using the service, and you come to Africa and you say, I want to do business, then you obviously are forced to use that service if you want to do business with the other 35 million Kenyans. So I don't know if we're on the same page there with that one. Okay, I want to give out two examples of how M-Pesa can work, and two stories. And the first one is there was an old man living in a farm. And before I do that, I want to remind you guys, yes, I got my paper today. Ooh, is this thing right? I had it upside down. If you like the content that I'm giving you out today, we had some problems in the last show, but we got it right now. Africa doesn't have super chat. So the only way you can help me is through the African super chat, and this is how you do it. Go to wave.com. This is the telephone number, And this is the contact name, which is my wife. She wants to do a show, so one day I'm going to have her on the show. Evelyn. So Eva is my I call her. So when you do this, it'll come through Mpesa. There's the Mpesa logo, and my phone, this one, instantly. So while we're talking right now, if you have this app on your phone and you've already done this before, then you're ready. You can send me some support, $1 or $2 to try it out for the first time. You can take any amount, and then we'll get it while we're talking, and then I can do the shout out to you saying that I received this money. Now we got it. I was sent $10 by Ted Taylor. I hope he's here. I think he's on the show, or he'll be on the Facebook section. And it was really great. I appreciate that, Ted. That was the second time he was able to do that, and then we were able to get the proper account name number there. So you have a lot of people that come on these type of shows talking about Africa, but do you have somebody that has 22 years of experience in Africa and 30 years of experience dealing with Africans in business? So for those of you that don't know me, I've been doing this for a long time. We have our main group on Facebook, Blackman's Guide to Moving and Doing Business in Modern Africa and Visiting in Modern Africa. It's on Facebook. The site is like 8 years old or 9 years old now. And all through it, you can just go down, scroll down. And I invite you to scroll down and look at the different stories that we have there that come over the years of talking about how modern Africa is the only solution to the problems we face in Black America. So I would expect that you guys get out and give that thing a try. My neighbors. So this is, I was going back to the example of, oh, before, let me do that. Let me look at the chat here. You should look, okay. Can you have more than one Mpesa account, like businesses and personal accounts? Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, you can have more than one Safaricom business, telephone number in your name right now. But the government is trying to change that. You see, as this Mpesa thing moves and grows, they're doing strict things that say that people should have one number, only one number, because they, crime, cyber crime, and all these kind of things are there and increasing as these systems grow. There's a lot of money being transacted in Mpesa, so they're trying to crack down on it. So my phone number, was back in the day when I got mine like 10 years ago, it was just me. I lost my number, and then my wife had an extra had an extra card, and she gave it to me, and then that became my standard phone for our businesses and everything. So it's it's in her name now. Phone number is usually very powerful. I have another line that's not Safaricom, which is under my name, and that's we don't really use it that much. So this is the circumstances that you can have more than one line. Can you have more than one line? Sounds good. I'm gonna send something once I get registered. Thank you. Really, you said that before. We're still waiting for you to do that. That is just some info for sure. Oh, okay. So let me finish. So I was going to give a couple examples of how M-Pesa can work. So you have there was this old man living on a farm, okay, in Kenya. He's 80 years old, and he had 5 sons. He has 5 sons whom he educated, and those 5 sons are working successfully in corporations and their own businesses here in Kenya. Now the old man decided that he needed a new fence to house his cows. He's on the farm, he's old, and so what would he do? He called his firstborn son, and told him, I need a fence. So the son told him, Dad, don't worry about a thing. It will be done. So the son then called his brothers, and the money is sent directly to the fundi, or to the repairman that's going to make the fence through using M-Pesa. So when the old man woke up the next day, he woke up to these men building his fence. He didn't even have to do anything except tell his son. And the transactions for the materials and all of that was done using Mpesa. So this is a convenient uh, a way to do business from one side of Kenya to the other, or from one side of East Africa to the other. Okay. Now that's the same thing here. It's part of the convenience of it is if you guys can support me here by going to www.wave.com and using that contact number and using that name if they ask you. Sometimes they don't ask for the name, but some people say they ask for the name. And support this channel so that we can continue to give this information and explain to you guys things that you may not have known, which help you make a better decision. It is so much easier to do business in Africa today, and M-Pesa is at the forefront of that reason. It's like maybe 15% of Kenyans had bank accounts back in 2000. 15% of the population. But today, 90% of the population can transfer money back and forth to two people instantly, basically instantly, and keep a written record of it on a text message record of it, of every transaction. Then if they have an email account, they can also get a statement. So you really if you're doing business, you don't even have to worry. They're going to send you a free accounting and statement every month. So it's a big game changer. So, yeah. So the next example I wanted to give on this issue of M-Pesa was about a mom. She slipped and fell and broke her leg on the way back from a shopping mall. She was in Kenya, in Nairobi. And the locals came there, picked her up, and took her to the local hospital. And she was put in the general ward. So eventually, she was able to. They were able to contact her son, who was living in the U.S. And they informed him that the mom was in the general ward. And the son probably replied, "Not my mom, no way." And he got on the phone and used M-Pesa. He probably used Wave. This account is about 8-9 years old. This website, wave.com. And he sent money directly to the doctor and the hospital so that his mom was put into a private room, and then he paid directly to a private nurse to watch over his mother while she was in the hospital. This was all done within a couple of hours utilizing M-Pesa. And because the doctor, the private nurse, and the hospital took payments based off M-Pesa. So you see, it was very easy. Now, these are examples, and there are thousands, millions of examples every day that people use M-Pesa. I gave you one about my son here needing a haircut, and I didn't have cash, so that was simple to use through M-Pesa. So, is that somebody? Let me see. I get so many messages. I don't. Oh, that's the chairman. Okay. So, yeah. So, with the devolution of the countries, the devolution of the counties in Kenya. What? You don't know? You don't know what devolution is? Devolution is the separating of powers from the central government to the basic counties. And for those of you that don't know this, or for those of you that think like African countries are run by the president and the colonies, no. Kenya has put in a devolution where most of the money is sent directly to the counties. Most of the money the government generates goes directly to the county governors and dispersed through Kenya's 47 counties based on their size and population. Kenya decided to reduce the powers of the president some years back and spread it around to 47 counties. Each county gets a check based on the size of population. So This was burned into the Constitution, so no politician can come and break that away. And so counties started getting a lot more money, and of course, M-Pesa was there so that they could do lots of transactions. And this is one of the reasons why Kenya is a middle-income country and expanding at the rate that it's growing, due to the fact that money transactions can be done so quickly. Even the new high-speed railway, you can go and pay in advance using M-Pesa. So for those people that didn't know that was what devolution was. So let me look at the chat now. You can have more than M-Pesa sounds good. I'm gonna add something and get registered with that. Yes, if you want to deal, look at M-Pesa. You can always Google it, M-Pesa in there to show you how it works. But it works with a Kenyan phone, so you have to have somebody that's dealing with a Kenyan phone. Now, for those of you that may be wanting to travel and you're meeting Kenyan friends, you can always send them something. The same way I'm asking for you to support this channel. Money makes the world go round. People do work greatly, and surely anybody will appreciate money coming from abroad. So what you do is, you want to come to Kenya. You've been on Facebook. You got some Kenyan friends there that you've been online with, and you say, "Look, can you do me this favor? Can you go find out this thing for me before I come?" And then you can say, "I can M-Pesa you some transport money." That's how you would say it here. And then they would be fine. Then you can you send them some few coins, and they use that money for transport. They give you your information. You can trust them. And if you send like $1 or $5 or $10, that's a lot of money. That if you sent $10, that could pay my bus fare from Mombasa to Nairobi. So I would think that you would take advantage of the fact that we have that power. What else is there? Is there a way to help spread M-Pesa throughout the continent? And okay, M-Pesa is growing throughout the continent. So some of those countries that have it are even in India, but in East Africa and Africa area, the main players are Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. In West Africa, they have MTH. I think it's MTH, and they have their own version of the money banking. But Nigeria is so many people, so they always have trouble with the regulations. But like so many things in modern Africa, these things are basically not that long. M-Pesa is just 10 years old, and then the way it is today is surely not the way it was 5 years ago. So you have to keep an account that as it grows and expands. Like one time, the limit you could send was 70,000 shillings, which would be like 7,000. I think it's $700. But today, they have raised that limit more than double. So because people are demanding, larger transactions using it. And banks are also getting into the act by having their own version of M-Pesa. Kenya's commercial bank has some sort of agreement with M-Pesa where their customers can take the money from their bank accounts and put it into M-Pesa and take it out and transfer it that way. PayPal recently also allow people to transact through M-Pesa. And I would suspect that in the future, Facebook will also allow us to transfer, make payments and for advertisement and things using M-Pesa. Mark Zuckerberg was here in Kenya, and he wanted to know just only that about M-Pesa. So I think that that is a good point as far as M-Pesa is concerned. Now, I think like large transactions, super big transactions are still done by bank. The banking system doesn't seem like it has failed. But land and real estate in Kenya is really booming. It's growing by 20% per year because the population is growing so big. Now, unfortunately, in Black America, our population is not growing. And recent reports are talking about real estate in Black neighborhoods is not it's not growing, and that's obvious because the population is not growing. So you buy a house in 2007 and it's still worth the same amount in 2017. So it's like, it's not like an investment that you can really depend on. But here in Kenya, real estate is growing by 20 to 25% every year. Can you imagine? So if you're a Black American in the United States and you wanted to invest in real estate, you could invest here and your money could be doubled in 4 years. And not only that, because it's the dollar, you transact in dollars, you'd pay like so less than a quarter of what you would pay for some real estate in the U.S. And we always got to do a show on that so that you can see. So I got another question. Does M-Pesa have a memo where you can document everything? Yeah, what happens is text message. I think you guys know text messages. When you do, you use M-Pesa via text messages. So you send a text message to M-Pesa, and then they send you a message back. See, and that message is a text message on your phone, and you can store it. Where am I hearing that from? So you get the message back, and like I said, they also they send me a statement every month on the first or second of the month, and it shows every transaction that the phone used. And they also have something on there where you can get a mini statement. So at any time you want to get a mini statement, you can just there's an option where you can just click and it'll send you a mini statement over your phone. So these are things that are available. I mean, as far as M-Pesa is dealing with business, they have to cater to what business wants, and so these type of benefits are there for you to use. And what else is there? And document everything. Yeah. Okay. So once again, if you guys like the show, I want you guys to remember me and put this out. I'm going to give out shows like this. It's very informative. I'm giving you to the information that's that's talking about what's going on in the ground. So I appreciate if you guys can www.wave.com, connect it to your bank account, send the money to this number. If they ask you for a contact number, there's the names. Type it in like that, and instantly I'll get it, and then I'll be able to shout out to you. If not on this show, but definitely on the next show, which would come in a few days. And this one is the second one. I think I did one day ago, and somebody responded with support, and that really inspired me to come back again. And I want to continue to do this because we get so many of these shows where you get people. What is that noise? Oh, that's the thing. You get so many shows of with people coming on here talking about one thing, and then they go off onto another thing altogether. And then you have haters in the chat room and all of this and this. Before this channel gets to be like that, I want to be able to give people that are listening to me an opportunity to talk about this one-on-one. I'm here in Africa. I've been an entrepreneur. I'm a family man. I have changed my life from living in Los Angeles, California, to living in Mombasa, Kenya. I spent 6 years living in Nairobi, which is like a New York type of atmosphere, just hustle and bustle. And then I moved over to Mombasa, which is like a retirement city. It's on the beach. Has so many five-star hotels. This is where all of the foreigners come here to wallow on the beach during the wintertime in their country. But now Europe doesn't have money. And so you go to the beach now, you see like all these rich Zimbabweans and South Africans and Congolese guys, and then you see less white people because Europe is having a lot of trouble. In Italy, been in recession for the last year, and Britain is going down, and France is dealing with the Yellow Jacket movement, and meanwhile, 9 out of the top 15 fastest growing economies are in Africa. So you do the math, you see what the future is going to be like, and if you have not put a plan together for an action plan together for looking at Africa, modern Africa, as a viable plan for exiting, the issues that are going on in America. Now I know we don't like to talk about these things, and I know that they're there. Because I experienced them when I was there 22 years ago, and I have too many people that come and tell me privately what's going on in the U.S. today. Though there may be people that will say, "Oh, Amen, no, it's not like that. Oh, you've been away too long." I'm just as informed what's going on in New York as anybody else who's not living in New York that didn't go to that side of the street. They say there's a big story breaking out in Manhattan, and you might live in Queens. Do you go to Manhattan and look at the story? No, you look at it on the TV. And so social media is there. And I'm just as party with social media as anybody else, wherever they are in the world. So, and I take interest in particular stories that deal with our people. So I'm just as informed. And so you can't use that as a reason to say Ahmed doesn't know what he's talking about. And a lot of haters come on here and they hate the fact that I'm here and I'm looking like I'm okay. I'm not starving. I'm not being attacked by people. They hate that, and then they want to try to hate on me. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm used. That's no problem. I've been on Facebook since 15 years, however long the thing is there. I've been on internet when internet was the CompuServe, you see. So I'm used to that. But I don't know. I have this urge to give out this information to many of us who are seeing that the Titanic is sinking. And when they're telling you that blacks' income is going to be zero, that's terrible. And many of us have children. We know the educational system is sour. But what opportunity, what other choice do we have? You have a choice. You have a choice and you should look into modern Africa. If not for yourself, it's for your kids' education. Because you can bring your kids to Africa, they can go into boarding school here. Most Kenyans, the majority of Kenyans put their children in boarding schools. And, you can have your kid in one of the high-priced boarding schools in Kenya with less money than you would if he was in day school public in there. And the environment that he would be in would be a safe environment. And he would make ties with other Africans. So where you might not be able to come and establish yourself, your son would make contact and make friends with actual Africans. And then he can make an intelligent choice to say, I'd rather be in the U.S. or I'd rather be in Africa. And I'm telling you, 99 times out of 100, they're going to say they'd rather stay. Because, if you can compare the two, the way I had compared the two, I lived in the richest city in the richest state in the richest country in the world, and I'm telling you, this is far better and much more secure, better for us, and this is where we actually come from. So if you go stay in America, the white man's point is gone. Our population is reducing, the imprisonment rate of our people is increasing, and our economic power is almost zero. We own less than 1% of the wealth. So I don't even know if we leave, it wouldn't even impact the United States. And don't think that the politicians and people in government don't know this. You see, if we just all left economically, it wouldn't impact us, impact the United States. It would just be a big embarrassment for them to see that the people in the population has left. But even that is changing because we're no longer the main minority in the country. When they were when America was telling the Europeans, bring your huddled masses to America, you're going to get free land and free labor. Well, who do you think the labor was? It was us. But that's no longer the case today. So what do they do with us? Like Jawazi Kufu said, what does America do with the people that they don't need anymore? And they made sure that they don't need us, but they damn sure don't want to let us go. And that's why I always tell you that America's greatest fear is, the black man leaving in mass. And if you understand this and look at the propaganda is the psychological negative message you have about modern Africa, and a lot of the knowledge that you don't know, which I'm trying to give you here, is the reason why we don't we don't think of Africa, or we have a negative opinion of Africa. Every TV show you see back in the day was negative towards Africa. Every comedian, all the major comedians, not all of them, but every major comedian, Dave Chappelle, I can't think of all those guys now, but they go watch them. Eddie Murphy, he always did these skits about Africa. They were always negative. You see, you laugh and have jokes, but it would come out be funny, but it's not really funny because in reality, the African has been busy developing his countries to modern standards. And I'm saying that we should be able to take advantage of that, especially if America has lied to us to the point where we wait till it's almost too late to get involved in making a game plan that includes Africa as part of the solution to our economic problems. Nobody cares if you're black in Africa because everybody's black. So you see, your ability to go through and do business is not hindered. And don't tell me that in the U.S. we have that ability to go be what we want. We can't. I worked in corporate America 15 years. I know what it's like. I know the mindset of people, just the regular people's mindset. When they see a black man, it's going to cause problems. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I had a double problem because, I have changed my name. And so, when they see the name, they already like, okay, this guy's, not the average Negro. I wish I was smart. If I was staying in corporate America, I would have named myself George Washington. Everything been okay. They were like, this is a good boy. This is a good Negro. They might let me be supervisor or something like that of the I don't know what, but that's no dignity. That's no dignity for me. I have a son here today, and he looks at me with pride. He says, he sees the business that I have and what my ability. He doesn't see no black man. My son has just as much right to be president of Kenya as anybody. You get what I'm saying? Because he's a Kenyan, and we have to see that one generation step. And you're automatically back to being an African. So for my brothers that are out there, and you in your 30s, maybe you having a second lease on life. Maybe your relationship broke. You're having midlife crisis like that. You think about Africa as a game plan. You look, you're not trusting women nowadays. All these things that they're putting where black men and women are fighting against each other, and you can't trust anybody. African women are here and in plenty. African men are here also. I got a black American sister here. She's been with a Kenyan for the last 7 to 10 years, and they're a very happy couple. You understand what I'm saying to you? You can find that right man here. You can find that woman that's not tainted by all of the nonsense that's going on in the United States. It is not a family or a relationship-friendly country. And we won't even talk about the fact that it's the number one murder capital, number one rape capital of the world. So if you like the information I'm giving you, guys, come on. I can go on the show for like 6-7 hours nonstop and talk about this place. So, like Cheryl is saying, we desperately need this information. I'm here. My name is Amen Kwanzaa Ra. I've been Black conscious since 2000 and I lost my mind. 1986. I changed my name legally on January 1st, 1987. I changed my name on that day to show that I was serious about who I was. And that was after I read a lot of information that was given to me by Ashwa Kwesi. Now, before that time, the only way we had information was through books and reading. So Dr. Ben and others, Dr. Henry Clark, when they spoke, people didn't take notes, or they had to get a book, and many big blacks didn't get a chance to read or comprehend, so they really couldn't grasp it. But what happened when Ashwa Kwesi learned from Dr. Ben, he put his things on VHS tape, which had just recently had come out, so you could replay it over and over again. And I was go see Ashwa Kwesi. I was one of the first ones to buy his, if not the first person to buy his VHS tape, because I went to his house when I met him, and he was still developing part 2 and 3 of African Origins of Christianity and Civilization in his living room. So he brought me the copy as soon as it was made, and I paid for it, and I put that in my little new VHS machine, And I was blown away. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I rewound it, which you can do with VHS, which you couldn't do before, and play it again and play it again and play it again. And that is how I became Black conscious, because it's just like, it was just mind blowing. I remember just sitting on my couch in my underwear watching this VHS tape, this 2-hour VHS tape, over and over and over again. So, and we all have that ability today with YouTube. It's just off the chain. And I want to give a show on Malcolm X. And I want to play some Malcolm X speeches as well as Martin Luther King speeches and break them down for you. Because a lot of us today are, don't get a chance don't remember these things. And the movie Roots. My son sitting here, and I'm asking, did you ever know about Roots? I don't know about that, Dad. What's that? I'm like, my goodness. Definitely a required reading. I'm going to have to get that to him. So I'm going to get off now. Again, I want to see you guys do the necessary. I know that we don't, as Black people, we like free things. And I know that some of us have a culture, we never support things. I listen to these shows for free. I'm getting it for free. Okay, fine. But you've tried that for many years. Where did it get you? Now, why don't you try something new by actually taking the time and logging on to www.wave.com and just see how easy the process is, and then support me. I guarantee you're gonna feel really good when you do that. And then you're gonna see me come on here and say, "Hey, man, thanks a lot." I'm give your name and then say the next show is for you. So we can continue this, because definitely it's needed, this information. Now, I've told you about Mpesa. I think that those people that are going to do their due diligence and go out and check into Mpesa, and they will never tell me. You might even figure out a way to start a business, and it starts making money, and you start doing it. But where did you get the idea from? From that guy from the video, and that's how it goes. So many people have been inspired by what I have said. I'm a 10th degree black belt in martial arts, and many of my black belts in Kenya make their living doing martial arts. Do they come and say, "Sir, thank you. You really helped me"? Yeah, some of them do, but some of them don't. That's just the manner of the person. And I remember those who do more than I remember those who don't. You see? So when it comes time to being successful, you want somebody to share it with. You can come and say, "Hey, sir, hey, remember that time I gave you that support, and you gave me that extra advice? Well, I turned it into this one," and we can share that moment. But you can't share it if you guys just sit back and say, "No, I'm not gonna pay him. What for?" And then you're using the information. And then it's a sad case, because there's so many of us out here that are black leaders that don't come out because they have seen what has happened. We didn't protect our leaders, and we didn't protect those people that are giving out us information. Now, I agree that there are a lot of black leaders that just let us down, and they let me down too, and it really hurt. And that is why, if you go to my Facebook page, it's an open book. You can just read all through me. I have no privacy locks on there. You can see my life story. I don't believe that a man can be a liar and a man at the same time. And that's a principle of life I grew up with. And so these kind of things make me be able to come to you today and in honesty and be able to do this. Now, I don't know how long the haters are going to allow me to do this. You see? So before they get busy and do their movements, help a brother out so that we can, well, you're not helping me out exactly, but, do it for your own benefit. Invest in your game plan to Africa and this is one of the best ways you can do it. We black people, we don't read books. We just watch videos. Here's one for you. And if you want to do it for free, okay, I think that's a poor man syndrome, when you start doing things for free without trying to pay, and your mindset gets like, everywhere I can go to get information without having to pay for it, that's a plus for me. But you're missing out on a lot of good information. And surely if people don't, if you don't support this venture and these ventures, they just quietly go away, and you may not feel it. At you never know. Something here may really help you. So I'm looking forward to you guys to take the effort to figure out how it's done. Do this African Super Chat, and you get the information directly from somebody who is on the ground in Africa. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for coming online. And if you're just coming in and hearing this, off the live chat, this show was about M-Pesa, and you put some information in the comments on what you want to know about, and I'll be glad to help you. But do something for me. Okay, till we meet again. Peace.